Complications and adjustments are just a normal part of everyday kitchen life. Burnt soups, bland sauces, underseasoned dressings, poorly cut chives, undercooked vegetables, so on and so forth. Complications and adjustments are just a normal part of everyday kitchen life. Through my years walking the line and dealing with fallout from services from the night before, I've come to the clear conclusion that when you cut all of the BS, 80% of food issues can be resolved almost immediately before they ever become problems. How? Well, it's not more staff. It's not new equipment. And by now you probably put it together. It's tasting. And it's tasting everything constantly. In this video, I'm going to share why tasting is one of the most important routines a chef can develop for themselves and the team that they mentor. It's a significant piece of my mindset that brings me peace and ease in the kitchen and the confidence that everything is happening as it should be. Now, I think of tasting as a leadership benchmark. And when trained with intention, it should become as routine to everyone on the team as brushing their teeth or maybe tying a shoe. Hopefully you get my point. Every time I've worked with a chef to embrace the power of little disciplines like this one, the impact goes far beyond flavor. It's improved training, tightened execution, elevation in the way that everything operates. Now, if you want a step-by-step process to elevate your operation beyond the food, schedule a call with me so I can show you how I help executive chefs like you build peace and confidence through structure. But in the meantime, let's get into it. I'm going to start with something called the Pareto Principle. Start by thinking about your kitchen while I talk about this. Now, whether you realize it or not, you're already operating under it, this Pareto Principle. It's also known as the 80-20 rule, which is a bougie name for the phenomenon where in most situations, 80% of results come from 20% of a particular input. I'm willing to bet very close to 20% of your team drives 80% of your consistency. 20% of your actions carry 80% of your influence. 80% of your problems come from 20% of specific contributors. Everywhere in the world are examples of this. And tasting is one of those great and simple actions that touches everything. Training, quality control, coaching, and standards. In fact, I've come to the conclusion that tasting is one of the highest leverage actions that you can take and easily reduce 80% of the problems before they ever happen. When you taste, you're not just checking for seasoning. You're modeling care, developing awareness, and embedding accountability. Tasting tells your team that this matters, we don't guess, we taste, and we know. It's not micromanagement, it's leadership at the routine level. It's one of the first habits that a young cook needs to master, and yet will likely spend a lifetime developing. It's also the last habit that a chef should ever let go of. Now, to talk about tasting, I want to take you back with me to my second job as a cook, which I started right after my 17th birthday. It was at the Ritz-Carlton in Dearborn, Michigan. I was incredibly lucky to be surrounded by a phenomenal brigade of chefs, and from day one, there was one consistently outspoken rule. Taste everything. It didn't matter what the question was, it seemed like taste it was the response. What's that? Taste it. How do I know when it's done? Taste it. I recall thinking it was everybody's answer to everything. Fortunately, that stuck with me throughout my entire career. Taste, 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 taste it again, confirm, taste. It's proven to me to be the most important building block that a young chef can embrace. From my case, that philosophy has opened doors for me that I never even considered possible. Taste, taste, taste. Tasting isn't a pause in the culinary process, it's the thread that holds everything together. And when you treat it that way, at least when I've treated it that way, it's transformed not just the food, but leadership itself. And directly the careers of those that work for you from a higher level. What tasting does, tasting aligns the brigade, grounds your team in a shared reference point, as in what tastes right, what it's supposed to. Tasting sets the tone for the kitchen, and it sets the tone for the flow of work. I've also found that tasting, as I've mentioned before, catches more errors than anything else. Or underseasoned sauces, missing acid, and you're going to be able to do that in real time. One of the biggest impacts I've seen over the course of a career is that it trains palates, it builds a vocabulary of flavor, and it sharpens instincts. It reduces chaos completely, reducing comps, complaints, response time. Fewer post-service stress loops need to be dealt with when tasting in the moment occurs. And I would also add that tasting accelerates skill development. and it transfers passion. It helps establish an effective quality control method, and to me, it's the hallmark of a great culinary program. And as I've said before, you've probably heard it, great success leaves clues. If great operations are tasting everything, there's probably a significant reason why. Tasting is the simplest habit with the broadest reach. But like anything that's simple to do, it's also simple not to do. One of the most amazing things is as this becomes more culturally ingrained and it's fully adopted by the team, you have more layers who are likely to catch and resolve errors before they ever become problems. Tasting is that action that reinforces that foundation. So now if you're watching this and you're not in that executive chef role yet, something that might really help you to understand is that as you move from cook to chef, your role as a taster shifts, like with most other things. You taste not just to check, but to teach, to reinforce, and to shape the culture. Over time, you go from learning to taste and what things should taste like to teaching to taste, making sure that the team tastes, ordering the spoons to taste, and so on. And so rolls the cycle of mentorship. So some of the key things that I've come to: one, don't make tasting random, make it routine. Let the team make it feel like it's random and that you're popping in from time to time just to taste things, which is, I think, an exceptional part of our job. But I want it to be a routine that's set into the phone with a timer. Taste everything, from mise en place to the coffee and the sweet tea to the PC sauces that go onto the table. Make sure that everything tastes the way that it should be and you understand what those things should taste like. Next, taste in front of the team and with the team. Show them how to assess, how to adjust, what you taste, and how you talk about food. Make sure that you're tasting in public with the front of the house or with your prep cooks, and build cultural gravity that attracts people to continue to taste and to have those conversations. Next, make sure that you're starting conversations about flavor. Use your passion and spread your passion through conversation while tasting. And finally, ask questions. Make tasting engaging. What's missing? What's next? Is it there? What does it need? How can we adjust this? You don't need a formal system to do it, you just need rhythm. And I find that with a routine, it very quickly becomes a nice habit. Once you have a rhythm, then you have intention, presence, and you can have consistency. Now, I didn't realize it until much later in my life, but you need to become the voice in your team's head to taste, just like Chef Christian's, Jason Weaver's, or Kelly Johnson's did when I was working at the Ritz as a kid. Because tasting isn't about control, it's about connection. Connection to the food, to the craft, to the team, and to our passion. It's a channel for me to the passion that my chefs have had. And we'll never have passionate cooks if we don't show them what it looks like. Passion is a much higher level trait, but it's something to aim for. Tasting isn't just about food. It's about how we lead, how we train, how we care, and what we're willing to reinforce daily. In kitchens where things are constantly in flux, it's the small disciplines that lead to the little habits that define the structure that allows you to hold a standard. In kitchens that thrive, it's always the same story. Someone's tasting, someone's teaching, someone's setting the tone. Over time, everyone mirrors that behavior. And if that someone is you, and you keep the discipline and you keep it routine, your kitchen has what it takes to be a haven for future great cooks. To me, tasting is how I anchor my leadership, and it's worth talking about because if we can't make excellence predictable in a spoon, we'll never make it predictable across the pass. Now, if you're interested in elevating your leadership beyond the food and build your program to have those routines that reinforce your standards, then book a call below and I'll walk you through how I help executive chefs lead with calm, clarity, and structure. And if this sparks something for you, drop a comment, like, and share it with another chef who needs to hear it. And be sure to subscribe for more videos like this on systems, craft, leadership, and the structure behind it all. Because when we lead with intention, the food gets better, the team gets stronger, the pressure becomes fuel, and our leadership scales and allows us to do the work that we really need to be focusing on, while enjoying the very reason why we started cooking in the first place. I'm Chef Gerald Ford, reminding you to taste everything. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.